Here is a historical narrative about the Nika Riots in Constantinople in 532 AD. The city ablaze. Justinian's Crucible. In the pre-dawn hours of January 14, 532 AD, Constantinople trembled. Not from an earthquake or foreign invasion, but from the brewing storm of human fury that would forever alter the Byzantine Empire's trajectory. The massive hippodrome, a cathedral of public spectacle, had become a powder keg of simmering political tensions. Two rival chariot racing factions, the Blues and Greens, traditionally bitter enemies, were about to unite in an unprecedented rebellion that would threaten Emperor Justinian's entire reign. For generations, these racing fan groups had been more than mere sporting enthusiasts. They were complex social networks wielding significant political influence, representing different social classes, regional interests, and philosophical allegiances. The Blues typically represented aristocratic and conservative elements, while the Greens embodied merchant and provincial perspectives. Emperor Justinian, a brilliant but controversial ruler, had been systematically consolidating imperial power, implementing radical administrative reforms that threatened long-established political hierarchies. His ambitious vision included legal codification, military restructuring, and architectural transformation projects that demanded enormous resources and challenged existing power structures. The immediate spark for the uprising emerged from recent judicial executions. Two members, one from the Blues, another from the Greens, had been condemned to death for violent crimes. When the scheduled public execution went awry, leaving both men still alive after a botched hanging, the crowd interpreted this as a divine intervention. During the traditional chariot races at the Hippodrome, typically a venue for controlled political expression, something extraordinary occurred. Blues and Greens, momentarily forgetting their historical rivalries, began chanting a unified political message. Nika, meaning conquer, directed squarely at the imperial administration. What began as political theater rapidly transformed into genuine insurrection. The mob's rage transcended sporting rivalries, channeling deep-seated frustrations with imperial governance, tax policies, and perceptions of corruption. Justinian, initially paralyzed by the unexpected scale of the revolt, considered fleeing the imperial palace. His wife, Empress Theodora, a former actress with a remarkable political acumen, delivered a legendary speech that would change everything. "Purple makes a fine funeral shroud," she reportedly told her wavering husband, essentially arguing that death was preferable to abdication. The riots spread with terrifying speed. Entire districts of Constantinople burned. Historic buildings, including portions of the great church of Hagia Sophia, were systematically destroyed. The mob proclaimed a new emperor, seemingly poised to overthrow Justinian's regime. Behind the scenes, Justinian's advisors, particularly the brilliant general Belisarius and the cunning imperial chamberlain Narses, began orchestrating a complex counterinsurgency. They would use a combination of strategic bribery, calculated violence, and psychological manipulation. Belisarius led imperial troops in a carefully planned assault through the Hippodrome's narrow entries. Narses worked to sow discord among the rebellion's leadership, exploiting personal rivalries and offering strategic bribes. The climax came in a brutal, hours-long confrontation that would become legendary. Imperial forces systematically massacred tens of thousands of rioters. The Hippodrome, once a symbol of public spectacle, became a scene of unprecedented carnage. When the violence subsided, over 30,000 people lay dead. The rebellion was crushed with a ruthlessness that would define Justinian's subsequent rule. In the aftermath, Justinian didn't merely survive, he transformed tragedy into triumph. He launched an unprecedented reconstruction of Constantinople, including rebuilding Hagia Sophia into the architectural marvel that would stand for nearly 1,000 years. The Nika Riots represented more than a mere urban rebellion. They were a pivotal moment marking the Byzantine Empire's transition from late Roman political structures to a more centralized, autocratic model of governance. Justinian's response, combining calculated violence with visionary reconstruction, would reshape not just Constantinople, but fundamentally altered the medieval world's political landscape.